And then I'm going to give Ashley the helm. I have to find your name in here, Ashley, to get. Hey guys, welcome tonight. I'm trying to read with my old eyes. Just give me a minute. Are you under the Lunar Hearth Cauldron one? Epic.
Didn't mean to do that one, but I guess it signed me into that one now.
Oh, I can't give you. Oh, that's me as host. Duh. That's on record now. Okay. All right. So Ashley has host abilities, so I'll be able to teach a little bit. Okay. So IMBOLC is the midpoint. Okay. It's like we're not quite to equinox, the spring equinox, but we're not still at Yule. So we're not celebrating and eating, so our pants don't fit. But at the same time, we are well aware that short season is coming. It's like, you got to leave the house eventually here, right? So it's nice to know that you have this bullshit section of time to really make the most of it. Okay. So I know all you people who are like, oh, I love this season. I don't think you're aware. This is when you're in the belly of the beast. So what you eat now is important. So did you ever hear how people speak of, oh, you've done all this work on yourself, but are you nourishing your soul and your spirit? Okay. So your soul, your spirit, and your body all need different kinds of nourishment. So your soul needs to be attached to something bigger and better than you. It needs to be attached to bonds that it finds like, similar, or shall I say familiar. Okay. So when I tell you to look into your lineage, we don't use the word ancestor anymore. Let's not use the word ancestors. Okay. I am going to use ancestor in the form of cooking tonight, but I want you to understand that I am interchanging ancestor with lineage interchangeably. Okay. And I get away from ancestors because people are like, I don't know where I came from. Your soul knows where it came from. You are the conscious staying in the way of your soul. Okay. There's a workshop coming out at Beltane called Fucking Flourishing. And Fucking Flourishing is all going to be about soul lineage movement once you become feral. So feral women run a little different. They walk a little different. They eat a little different and they see a little different. Okay. So some feral women eat beans and sprouts. My friend Nikki, she's a feral woman that eats beans and sprouts. She's a no harm, no foul feral woman. And me can be found gnawing on a chicken wing, from time to time when I'm stress eating. Okay. So I want you all to understand no matter what you eat, no matter what you feed your temple is important. So you're doing all this work on your soul and your spirit. Okay. You're all doing this really hard work, but your health is suffering. Okay. And IMBOLC is a great time to remember. What did our moms tell us, the school nurse tell us when we were little girls? Milk does a body good. This fucking holiday is all about the milk doing your body good. Okay. This is a very heavy dairy section of time. Okay. But what you're also going to see is a very heavy water element section of time as well. So you're going to partake of things from the sea. Because when winter was hard and people lived in an area where there are rivers and ocean, they were eating seafood, they were eating fish, they were eating the things they could get easily to feed and nourish their bodies. You'll see many Celtic tales where the fisherman went to the edge and the bone hag found him and the mermaid had found him and the sirens found him because he was fishing for survival. Okay, so when you're thinking of IMBOLC food, you're thinking of hearty, sturdy, from the land foods. These are not fresh things like, oh, I'm going to go to my garden and pick a tomato and have some beautiful spinach because it's freshly grown. No, you're looking at the hard shit. The turnips that are in storage, the root vegetables that you have left, the beets, the carrots, the potatoes. Yes, I'm going to say it just like that. Sandra P.A., you're going to get it right out. The potatoes, you're going to cook for them potatoes, and you're going to look for the garlic and the fennel. You want these really hearty vegetables. And when you're in this stench, you're also looking for the minorly used aspects of the animal. the shins, the cheekbones. They were using what was left of these animals. Because think about it, at Yule, they feasted on these amazing meals. And they used the best of the animal because they were celebrating. And there's nothing wrong with celebrating. You know, you all celebrated a little hard. Y'all got that cookie weight. Y'all got that delicatessen weight. You know, because instead of cooking that night, you went to the deli and got yourself a little something, something. Here in Central PA, we roll up to the sheets and get ourselves a hot dog and a cheese pretzel and we roll on out. Or you go to the Wawa and you get whatever you need, okay? We have become witches of convenience. All right? No harm, no foul. You're a convenience witch, okay? When I'm stepping into something like this, I want you to go into the sumptuous level of homespun. Just this IMBOLC, I want to invite you to light your hearth, take a little more time cooking, a little more time enjoying, eat a little less, but enjoy it a little more. Now, I know you're all like, fuck you, sissy. I want to eat lots. It's a Sabbath. Okay, you can. So how do we do that? We put a lot of effort in the preparation of the things we're making. Now, some of you witches that burn water are like, bitch, I'm going to need you to back up. Okay. But I'm going to tell you how to do this that you look like a fucking pro. Are you ready? There are shortcuts to every Sabbath witch. In your grocery store, in your rituals, in your altars, in your homes. There are shortcuts to everything. But what you need to take your time on are the blessings, the wardings, and the intentions you're putting into these products. So I met a witch one time and she bought frozen bread dough. She's like, bitch, I can't make bread to save my life. I'm like, okay, go to the freezer section, buy the 4-pack of frozen bread dough. Don't tell me you haven't seen it because you've all fucking seen it. It used to be like $3.75 for 4 loaves of frozen bread dough. It's now like $7, okay? But you're paying what for a loaf of bread now? $2.75, $3, correct? This is bread at your decision. Do you understand that? And once you bake bread, you can freeze bread. So you can thaw that loaf of bread, proof that loaf of bread, bake that loaf of bread after you've divided it in half and freeze the 1 loaf of bread, okay? You're all like, this is genius. Or if you're a fat ass like me, you can cut it into cubes and make yourself croutons for your salads out of that bread. Okay. Just saying, fat ass witch tip. I'm going to start a whole section of feral field guide called fat ass witch tips. Okay. There is nothing that butter, bread, and some oven time cannot solve in this world. I fucking assure you. Okay. And those of you that can't eat gluten, may peace be with you. I don't know what to tell you. This is not your Sabbath. If you are lactose intolerant, this is not your Sabbath. This one's going to hurt. You are going to have all the gas. Everybody that loves you is going to have to take 10 steps back because you're going to stink. Okay. This is a cheese, milk, bread, butter deal. Someone said to me, have you ever used margarine in your IMBOLC? Fuck you. I've used margarine in my IMBOLC. I ran a restaurant. Butter's fucking expensive. And when I was putting butter on 18 tables, you bet your sweet ass that was margarine some of the time. Okay. So, you know, it is what it is. All right. So, what I want you to understand is all these things are reminiscent of beautiful, hearty standards. So, that brings us now, we've covered all the dairy, right? Fresh milk. If you can get to a farm, okay, if you have a farm near you and you can get your hands on fresh milk for IMBOLC, don't waste that shit eating it. Put it in your fucking bathtub. Feed your temple. Don't feed your belly, feed your temple. Or make some beautiful lavender milk to go at bedtime. But that, my friends, is for tomorrow night at Bedtime Rituals for New Brooms. Get your download in the LHC store. There's your advertisement for the night. Nikki's like, that's my girl. She's advertising. So when you're doing these things, I want you to really come in and focus. The next thing on this list is grains, barleys, and oats. They stored these things. They kept these things. If you're a resourceful foraging witch, you have all these burdock flower sitting around your house because you've saved it all off the vines. This is the time I grind my burdock the long tendrils that grow off the burdock in the fall, I grind them and put them into my IMBOLC breads along with my flour as an offering to Bridge. That is her offering because that is a grain and that's her shit. And she's like, "Oh, thank you for going to the field and getting this." And I'm like, "You're welcome. I forgot I had it," because I'm out here running into my shed grabbing the burdock off the shelf when I'm making bread. My husband's like, "What the hell are you doing?" I'm like, "I forgot I got this, but I need it. So let's go." So I run back in the house with my stuff. Okay. So what fruits are we doing? What's in season right now? Nothing, right? Nothing is in season. But you have those hardy storage apples, right? And you're finding that raspberries are showing up everywhere. Black raspberries are showing up all through your stores. This is a perfect time to take just a little bit of raspberries, a cup of raspberries, smash them down, and just spread them across your bread after you've baked it, okay? Pomegranates, raspberries, apples this time of year, okay? What if I can't get anything like that, Sissy? Have you saw the freezer section? Walk your happy ass back to the freezer section. Take a look at the berries. Walk your happy ass back to the jelly, jam, and preserves area and check out that area. If you want to be a Sabbath celebrating magical worker, I'm not going to say witch, I'm going to say magical worker, okay? Because we're a step above witch when we actually jump our ass in the game, okay? You're working. This is a daily practice for you. This is something you move through. Got it? You're going to find the things that work for your practice. So if all you can get is a preserve, get the preserve. If all you can is a frozen berry, get the frozen berry. Now, everybody's like, does it have to be expensive? No, this can be a very small meal. So, first thing we're going to talk about is butter. Yes, it has to have heavy cream. Butter starts with heavy cream. Can I use half and half? No, you cannot use half and half. You're not going to get butter because butter is a complex item. Okay, listen. Butter is a complex item. Butter is just as difficult of a creature as I am. It takes a lot of beating to get me to give you the good stuff. Okay? Literally. The universe beats the shit out of me to get me to give the good stuff. So what I want you to think about is when you put this cream in this jar, you're going to shake it vigorously. This is a great time if you got some serious like aggression stuck up in you. You're working through some shit. Some people are pissing you off. Put that slip knot on and fucking make that butter, okay? I think Amish and Mennonite women, I know you don't want to admit this, but I'm pretty sure they're pretty pissed off when they're beating butter, okay? Those churns are a lot of fucking work. I've done them in my time. They suck, okay? But after you beat this for 10 minutes, or if you have what I have, a trusty stand mixer, let me give you a word of advice, okay? One witch to another. Don't turn your fucking mixer on at top speed when you put the heavy cream in the bowl, okay? Or you're gonna look like you just got a bath because it's just gonna go whoof around the bowl and you're gonna wear it and everyone else is gonna wear it. What should I use, Sissy? What do you think you should use? A whisk attachment. Okay, it's gonna stick in. You're gonna get messy. Oh my, I'm really sorry to tell this. You're gonna get messy. This is a messy task. What do you need to make butter? You need a mason jar or a mixer with a bowl. Okay. You need cheesecloth. You need a bowl to drain it into and hold it. Now, this is what I'm going to tell you. Butter gets better when it is molded. Do you know what that is? That's 2 wooden paddles that you push it together as flattened. Now I know what I'm going to hear. I don't have that. Of course you don't, because this isn't 1845 and Sarah down the street didn't buy you 2 paddles for your wedding gift, okay? Those flat spatulas that you make stir fry with, that you get at the Dollar Tree, you can use those to make butter. Just make sure they're nice and clean and you're patting them together. The most important thing about butter is once you strain it, It has become that solid yellow mass. That liquid you pull off is called buttermilk. You should use that to make biscuits on IMBOLC. Just telling you. Like, don't waste this shit. Wouldn't advise drinking it right away. You're not really going to like that or enjoy that, but it's great for baking. I can assure you the maidens in these households knew what to do with this. The mothers knew what to do with these items, okay? Buttermilk is also a great facial wash. That acidity that goes in the buttermilk after it sits for a day will clean all those blemishes deep in your skin right out. It'll give you beautiful skin the day after. If you're allergic to milk products, don't be rubbing it on your face. But if you're not, you can keep the buttermilk for 3 to 4 days in the fridge. If you add a little bit of alcohol to it, I suggest a little bit of vodka. You can keep it a little longer, okay? Don't keep it past a week. It'll mold, it'll get nasty, and then you'll get blemishes from it, okay? But it is a really great toner for facial products after the use. So we strain it out, you twist it really hard, like wring its neck. You know, like that TikTok going around, stab it, stitch it, wring its neck, pull it through, you know, how you knit. So butter's like that. You grab it, put it in the thing, wring its neck, get it all out. Once you pull it out of that cheesecloth, rinse it under cool water. Then you want to mold it and wrap it in parchment paper to keep forever long. You want it. Now, I know what the next question you're going to ask me is, how do I store it? Parchment paper or an airtight container? Okay. Yes, I know that old Celts didn't have airtight containers to store their butter. I'm well aware of that. But they did have cold cellars that you don't have. This is another thing to consider. I keep my butter at room temperature. That's nice. How do you like your botulism? You're going to get sick. This isn't days of old where we didn't know what grows in the butter. Keep your butter in the fridge. Just be smart, okay? I keep it in a butter crock on the table. Good for you. I wouldn't do that with homemade butter. It's going to degrade and it's going to get gross. And you're going to have a whole container of butter, water in like a day. Homemade butter is a lot different than the butter you're getting from the grocery stores. That shit's been pasteurized, beaten, strained, treated a little bit. It's a little different. I have a dairy right down the hill from me, and they make butter twice a week. You get it Tuesdays or Fridays. That's the only days they make butter. And they have right on the side of the container, must be used within a week, store in refrigerator. And they'll tell you it does not hold up. It's not treated like the mass production you're getting in grocery stores, okay? So when you're making your homemade butter and you're being Betty fucking Crocker this IMBOLC, and you're feeling your muchness and your family and friends are coming over and you're like, behold my bread and my butter. And you're like, ha ha ha. Just don't have it on your table because you're going to open your butter bell and you're going to be like, oh shit, do not behold my butter. You're going to be like, that was a big mistake. But look at my bread. So I gave you a whole page of things that you can add to your butter. When do I add to my butter, Sissy? Okay, this is when you add your butter. Oils should be done at the point you're mixing. Okay, so if you're going to add an oil, when you're shaking is when you add your oil. Okay, herbs are made after it's strained. Then this is the best part. You're all going to love this. Wash those hands. Chop those herbs, have them in a little bowl. Put your butter down in a bowl and mix the herbs by hand. I would hold off putting a lot of salt in your butter. It's better to salt your food than salt your butter, okay? Just telling you from experience. Look at recipes. Not many of them call for salted butter because it gets way out of hand with butter. And it's another breakdown component of butter that'll destroy it, okay? So you guys can look through all these here. These are a huge list of stuff you guys can add. The one thing I did see in my research is frankincense can be added for body adorning butter. Okay, so if you're gonna get kinky with this, okay, you're gonna use this to anoint your body for working. You can put a small amount and stir in frankincense to it to give you an abundance oil eventually for your body. Makes sense? Frankincense is very expensive. All you oil broads, you're all like, oh, that's some expensive butter. That will be some very expensive butter. But in the long run, it's for abundance and working. Okay. I haven't eaten frankincense ever. That is not something I've ever done. So I can't tell you how that's going to taste. I don't think I would ever eat it. I don't really care for the smell of frankincense. There's my admission. I don't like the herb. Maybe it's the biblical attachment. I'm not sure. I just don't like the herb. And I think it's a little stinky. Everybody recommends it, but ugh. It gives me the cat tongue. Ugh. So we don't do frankincense at my house. But if you want to do it for you, I love that for you. Okay. Yeah. I'm not coming for dinner if you're making frankincense butter. Mwah, thanks. Okay. So what are we cooking? So I gave you whole cane potatoes. Okay. Fish and chips. Bacon and leeks. Have any of you ever eaten bacon and leeks? Oh, this is shit of the gods. I can actually imagine if I was sitting with one of those sexy men from Highlander. Like, don't tell me you don't think about it, ladies. You fucking lying. You're fucking lying. Them kilts, them shoulders, those accents. You know, you're like, oh, be Jesus. That's what you're going. Oh, be Jesus. Okay, so imagine this amazing slab bacon. You can't do this with like that shitty bacon from the crappy end of the butcher shop counter. Okay. The giant, no, you need some thick cut, apple smoked, grade A pork belly. Okay. This got to be good bacon if you're going to make this recipe. Okay. Brings us to leeks. Does anyone know what a leek is other than a drain from your sink? Okay. So it's a big fucking onion. It's like the dildo of onions. It's like huge. Okay. So it's like it's huge. Okay. But they grow in sand. They exclusively grow in sand. So you need to slice this down the center and gently pull it apart to get all the sand out. So rinsing your leeks is really important in this progress. Or you're going to have bacon and gristly leeks. Okay. It's going to taste like you're at the beach eating your sandwich when it falls in the sand. You all know what that tastes like, don't you? Blech. Yeah, pretty much. So make sure you rinse these leeks out superbly. This is not time to be half-ass switch. I would even encourage you to cut the bottom stem off, cut the leeks off. You want a good bit of that green too. Don't get rid of that green. Only the nasty, nasty part, the dried off part, okay? Grocery stores sell them in a bundle. You usually get 3 of them for like $4.99. This is a super cheap meal, but it's super amazing. The flavor profile here, and I'm going to tell you something that's not in this handout here that'll change it a little bit for you, okay? So fennel bulbs. Have you ever seen a fennel bulb? Okay. So if you cut the fennel bulb off and you get to that really nice white part, you know what that is. That's like that sweet meat, okay? That's that center of the celery. If you put a little bit of that in this mix, over the top, 5-star Michelin shit, okay? I'm telling you, that's 5-star Michelin shit. So you're going to saute down these slabs, cut them like quarter, half inch long, give yourself a nice piece of bacon, saute them all flat in the pan. Take your time. Cooking bacon's like sex. Take your time. Don't rush that shit. Keep the heat low. Get a good sear on it. Get a good bark on it. Get all that grease off it. Render it. You know what I'm talking about. All you vegetarians are there going, I miss bacon. That's all what you're thinking right now, aren't you, Nikki? You're like, I miss bacon. So when you're rendering this down, you're going to get all this grease in the pan while you're doing this. As you go, drain the grease into a bowl. Okay. Don't get rid of that grease. Yes, we are going to get fat and happy this Sabbath. Are you ready? You're all going to have a little extra padding to go out in the snow. Okay. So we're going to render that grease off. You're going to pull your bacon out. Put a paper towel down on a kitchen plate. Not a fucking stack of paper towels. We're not draining every bit of grease that ever existed. Just a bit, and lay it down flat. And you'll be like, you sit over there. I'll be right back with you. Okay. And then start your garlic in that bacon grease and your onions in that grease. The thinner the slice, the closer to the goddess. Remember that with onions, fennel, and leeks. These have to be nice, julienne, beautiful pieces, okay? I cheat and I julienne a sweet potato into this because I'm a fucking potato whore and I've got to have my sweet potatoes, okay? So I make this beautiful warm salad is what it starts looking like. You get this abundant warm salad. 3 leeks is never enough. You need like 6 or 9. Okay. Never enough because I eat like 3 leeks myself. Okay. My husband's like, what the hell is this rabbit food? I'm like, oh no, it's not for you. Like, I'm serious. I'll eat a pound of bacon, 4 leeks, and 2 onions and a sweet potato all by myself. And then I will be in the corner with my bowl going, no, I get many like Gollum. Okay. this one, you're all going to be like, after you make it, oh, sissy. Mwah. This one is beautiful. It meets all those salty, sweet hits right before you serve it. Minutes before you serve it. A pinch of sugar right over the top. Close the lid. Just hit it with that little bit of sweet. It changes the whole rendering of the dish. Okay? Serve it in a big hearty bowl with a big fork. Get yourself a big glass of beer all by yourself. Hide in the corner. This is good, warm your shit shadow work food here, okay? If your soul is dying, this is what you want to eat. This is the shit you want to eat, okay? So I can't say enough about bacon and leeks. I know it's like this little recipe in this PDF. What I'm telling you is the thing that IMBOLCs are made for, okay? These are beautiful. Another thing I love to do at this Sabbath is use cabbage. I love cabbage and I love apples. Now I'm going to teach you something. So, vegetarians, buckle up. I got a soup. Sweet potatoes diced. Apples, cored, peeled, diced. Cabbage, half of a cabbage, diced. Okay? Saute them all. Half a stick of whatever vegetable fat you want to use. I really don't know how you guys cook. I try really hard when Nikki comes to town to like cook all vegetarian for her. It's not my real thing, but I gave it my best. Okay. Now you're going to want to put vegetable stock in this and let it simmer, not overcook. This is a beautiful thick stew with some hearty beer bread. Vegetarian, filling. Do you notice what else it is? Fucking cheap. Do you hear how cheap that is? 2 apples, half of a cabbage, and 2 sweet potatoes. You're looking at $7 max, plus a can of vegetable stock. It's nothing. And you can use bouillon. You don't even have to use vegetable stock. You can use bouillon. I shred a little bit of carrot in mine, and I also put fresh beets in just because it gives it a little bit of color. Because it is kind of white. It like if you look at it, it's like bleh. Yeah. But if you put the beets in, it changes the whole profile with the carrots. It's a beautiful soup. You can also add fennel to this one. Fennel is not a really big used ingredient here in the US. I don't know why. I think it's because the United States has shit for brains when they're cooking, but that's another story. Fennel is a beautiful ingredient that carries a lot of nutrition, a lot of flavor, and it's probably one of the things you can most likely find on your almost ready to go shelf because nobody buys it. It's like one of my go-to items. I'll buy it. I have a bin of rice in my refrigerator. I'll take those root vegetables, clean cut the bottom of them, put them down in the rice, and they'll stay a lot longer in there. They'll be the nutrients will stay with them with the rice. So I store them in that little container when I get the almost ready to go stuff. Same with turnips, rutabagas, anything like that. I keep them in a drawer like that. The other recipe I have one here is the dilled fish and roasted potato. Cut your potato in several pieces. Take your beautiful fish, get some aluminum foil, lay it out, lay your fish in there. 2 or 3 slices of lemon on top, a little bit of fat of your choice. Some people use olive oil, some people use butter. I use Olive Garden salad dressing as my seasoning for fish. I don't have to use any seasonings out of the cupboards. Caroline is an Olive Garden salad dressing whore. So we have bottle and bottle and bottle of it in the pantry. And as you all know, she's not eating much right now. So I have an extra supply of croutons and salad dressing at my house. So you drizzle that over top, put your potatoes in there, a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, close it up, steam it, you pull it out, and you have a whole meal right in aluminum foil or parchment paper. Now, what do you prefer to cook in? Everybody asks me, what do you prefer to cook in? I prefer to cook in parchment. The only thing is, when you're cooking in parchment, you've got to do it in a deep baking dish. Because if you go to lift those parchment pouches out and they are not properly wound, you are going to have a steam burn you are going to have a hard time recovering from, because they hurt like a motherfucker when they pop open. And for some reason, parchment baking paper holds steam like something I've never seen. Okay. Make sure you put a little hole in the side before you open them up and drain them into that deep baking dish, that you're just putting a nice drier portion on your plate. This is a really low-cal, healthy meal, the potatoes and the fish. I also like to sometimes put carrot coins in that, so you get a steamed vegetable in with it, and then it's a one bag dinner. That's what my mother-in-law would say. That's a one bag dinner. When you up in Massachusetts, she's like, Sissy, it was a one bag dinner. I just put it in the lunch bag and threw it in the oven. It was a one bag dinner. That's what she does. Okay. She doesn't use parchment. She uses those lunch bags that you got kids' lunches in. She bakes in those. She swears by them. I've seen some meals come out of them lunch bags. I'm just going to say, never doubt a Northern woman when she says she could do something. Bitch could do it. She is the mother of necessity there. Okay. So we've covered all this stuff. Now, what if we take the potatoes and we mix them with the dairy? Who's with me? This is a beautiful thing, okay? Okay. Don't look at me like you don't dip your French fries in cheese sauce, you lying sacks of shit. I know you do. Okay. So, Hasselback potatoes. Do you know how to do those? Chopstick from your local place, okay? One chopstick on either side of the potato. Keep them up a little bit, okay? So like put something on the end, 2 carrots on the end of the potato, just that you got about a half an inch or like an inch at the bottom of the potato. Put your chopsticks there. 1/2 inch slices along the potato. Once you cook it, it'll fan out and open up. It'll be beautiful and you'll look like a professional chef, okay? I am going to do a Hasselback tutorial. I am going to make fish and chips on Wednesday and tape it, because my husband's all like, isn't there a witchy thing coming up this week? What are we eating? And he was looking at the PDF on my computer this morning. He goes, fish and chips, is that what we're getting? I'm like, yeah, I'm making fish and chips. He's like, damn, yeah. So you guys will get a tutorial on that. It won't be hard. Don't look for bells, buzzers, and whistles. I'm just going to show you how to do it. It's going to be rough. I don't know what I'm going to look like. I'm going to do my best, okay? But I'm going to show you as I'm cooking it for him. Now, what I want you to understand is the base to any good IMBOLC dinner. Mac and cheese, scallop potatoes is a white sauce. Let me teach you how a Pennsylvania Dutch girl makes white sauce. 1 stick of butter or margarine. 1 cup of flour. Let that butter melt. Put that flour on top of it. Stir, stir, stir. Cook your roux. The worst thing in the whole fucking world is to bite into a white sauce that tastes like flour. Cook, cook, cook. Now, this is where, if you're a fancy broad, you have one of those whisks that has the plastic around it. Do you ever see these? They look like I have a spatula around them. My husband bought me one of these last year because he's sick of watching me scratch pans. So you add your milk gently. When will I know it's enough milk, sissy? When your fucking heart tells you it is. When that shit is thick and you are confident with how much you have. Remember, the longer you cook it, the thicker it will get, okay? When do I add my cheese? When you remove it from the heat. And you know what the key to it is? Stir, stir, stir. Never walk away from an angry child or a white sauce, okay? Both of them are very unpredictable things, okay? You're going to stir and stir and stir and stir. Go easy on the pepper, go easy on the salt. Don't forget a pinch of nutmeg. It changes the whole aspect of your white sauce. Not a lot, just a smidge. Okay, that is an actual measurement in cooking. It's not quite your fingers touching, just a little off, just a little bit, and throw it in and mix it through. That nutmeg will open it up. It'll open the scent profile of the flour and the milk and the butter and just pop it open. It's the difference between white sauce and white sauce. Secret, of a very soft macaroni and cheese or scalloped potatoes. You know, when you go to Panera and you dig into that mac and cheese and it's like, oh, that's cream cheese. Panera adds cream cheese to their mac and cheese. I add cream cheese to my mac and cheese. I add an obnoxious amount of cheese to my mac and cheese. If you've ever eaten mac and cheese with me, you know that shit hits your heart valve and it's like bypass ready. So when you go into this, use cheeses that complement each other well. Don't be mixing yellows and whites. One or the other here. Now, I know some of you are going to say this, and I am not going to tell you not to do it. Cheese Whiz is a really good substitute for cream cheese if you don't have it or you don't want to use cream cheese. I hate Cheese Whiz. I hate Velveeta, but it works really well on a mac and cheese, okay? My kids love my mom's mac and cheese. They love my mother's mac and cheese. They'll tell me anytime, Nanny makes the best mac and cheese. We do stewed tomatoes here in central Pennsylvania. So it's like a can of diced tomatoes and you add a little bit of sugar to them and you thicken them up with flour and water. So my mom makes macaroni cheese and stewed tomatoes for these kids. My mom puts an entire block of Velveeta in her mac and cheese. It's the nastiest thing I've ever seen in my life. But my kids adore it. I think it brings them back to that craft stuff they weren't allowed to eat when they were little because I always made homemade meals. So my kids never got that stuff. So you can use Velveeta. I can't believe I'm saying this in a teaching situation. You can use Velveeta. You can use Cheese Whiz. I beg you, don't. Get a little bit of cream cheese and use the little bit of cream cheese, okay? If you want to be a fancy pants, Aleut, the soft cheese in the specialty section, holy bejesus, that shit changes your shit up. That vegetable-based stuff, that's the bomb. If I'm going to the electric chair, I guarantee you it's Gruyere, mac and cheese with Aleut mixed into it, and smoked sausage from a small butcher shop where I grew up. That's my last meal, okay? It's just that simple. That's it. That's my shit, okay? So we've covered potatoes and cheese and fish and what else do we need to cover? Do y'all want to make stew for this holiday? Anybody want to make stew? Okay. So you get a nice piece of pork or a nice piece of beef. Okay, whichever you choose. I prefer beef for stew. It just holds up better. It lasts better. It resonates better in the pot and it wells. If you want a deepened flavor with your beef, you're going to want to pan sear it before you soak it. Everybody's like, what does this mean, sissy? It means you take a big Ziploc gallon-sized Ziploc bag. Get a garbage bag. Okay? Fill it with a cup to a half a cup of flour, salt, pepper, meat seasoning. I like Montreal steak. It really spices a little bit, but you're going to put other stuff in there, so I don't worry about it. And then you put your beef in there and you just flip it back and forth. Make sure it's nice and coated. So when it comes out, it's going to look like fried chicken. Okay? Do I rinse it off? Do I pat it dry? I don't give a shit what you do. I put mine in bloody and mooing. I don't give a shit. I'm not going to save this flour. I'm not going to use it again. I'm not afraid of blood. I'm from a butchering family. Keep that in mind if you ever cross me. I'm from a butchering family. I'm not afraid of blood. So just put that in your reservoir of information, okay? So you take this piece of beef, you put it down in a Ziploc bag, you coat it really well. Get that pan hot. Hot pan. Not a pussy hot pan. A hot pan. Little bit of oil, little bit of butter, whatever fat you're choosing. Brown it on every side. Grab your tongs, roll the edges. Get that thing seared up. What you're doing is searing in the tenderness of that meat. After you get it all going, that's when you put your potatoes and your celery and everything in, saute everything with that meat. You can pull it back out and cut it if you prefer to have it in chunks. Sometimes people cut it in chunks when they put it in the bag, so it's already in the chunks when they're braising it. But I like mine in one piece because I put that to the bottom of the pan, lift it out, do all my vegetables and what's down there, and then the beautiful thing happens, the deglazing. Now, you coffee drinkers, you love your coffee, right? You want your beef stew to fucking snap, just like as someone would say, you want that shit to be bussin'? I'm gonna tell you how to make it bussin'. Half a cup of coffee in with whatever liquid you're deglazing your pan. The tannins in the coffee will tame the seasonings in the meat. So you put that in there, deglaze that pan, get it all going. I always put a can of tomatoes in. I use San Marzanos. Sorry, I'm a tomato whore. I love my tomatoes and I love San Marzanos. Put them all over the beef, all my vegetables in there, put the lid on, medium, walk away. Stir it a couple times a day. I sometimes take it from the stove into my crock pot and I let it go. So if you're making a beef stew, you got about maybe an hour of major work on this, and it's a set it and forget it meal. And then you just got to make bread, right? And you all have had your frozen bread dough out rising at this point, right? You've made your butter. So you're going to rub that bread with your butter, mold it up a little bit. It's nice and malleable at this point, and you're going to braid it just like you would a little girl's hair. Seal both ends, crimp them hard with your hands, put them on a parchment lined sheet or a non-stick cookie sheet, 350 for 45 minutes, and you got a loaf of bread. You might actually look like an accomplished kitchen witch this Sabbath, and it shouldn't be that hard. Now, what are you going to drink? What are you going to drink this Sabbath? Well, we always drink mugwort tea because that's what we're made of, right? No. This Sabbath is for ales. So if you're a beer girl, this is your Sabbath. Ales, meads. But one of the beautiful things for this is you bring that Maybon turnaround. You ready? Apple cider, warm, wassailed beverages, mulled ciders. Those are the kind of things that they would have drank at these holidays. Nice, warm drinks. Lavender milk, honey milk. Those kind of things would be what you're using. Now, I know we haven't talked about the favorite part of the Sabbath meal, right? Dessert, right? Custard. Lots and lots of custards, puddings, cakes that have fresh raspberries and milk bases. But my favorite thing to make at Sabbath is cheesecake. I make a regular graham cracker crusted plain cheesecake. I do a honey drizzle on top of it and some poached apples or candied apples. So when we have pork at our house, so if I was doing the pork roast, which you all have heard my pork roast many times, right? I would take those apples and I would saute them in a pan with a little bit of butter and maple syrup. And I would drizzle them on top of the cheesecake prior to serving. I know a lot of people who use caramel, but I really like a simple cheesecake. Sometimes I use pomegranate if I have my hands on it for this Sabbath, because it is fancy. It's a fancy day. I can justify the pomegranate, right? So I do a little bit of pomegranate, and I have a beautiful piece of cheesecake on this Sabbath. I don't eat cheesecake normally. This is the Sabbath I eat it. I'm not a cheesecake girl. It's not my thing. But creme brulee, if you can make it, that's the shit for this one. That's the shit for this one because it's the beautiful custard with the charred top. Now everybody's like, I don't want to do this. You don't have to do it, but you can do a custard and just put it in your broiler and creme brulee it. You don't have to have a torch. It's not going to be perfect, but it will be good enough. Believe me, I've never seen anybody turn away candied sugar on top custard. That would just be disrespectful. Okay. So if you're going to do the creme brulees, I will put that out as a bonus in the parchment witch. I'll add a little page in there for creme brulee for you guys and cheesecake because I didn't add desserts to this because I knew we'd have so much to talk about with the foods. I was like, I don't know if we can get to desserts, but I think the creme brulee and the cheesecake are just like the perfect finish. I use a very simple cheesecake recipe. My oven stays on for 8 hours. I bake at like 275 for 8 hours, and my cheesecake is this big when it comes out. So, like, bitch eats cheesecake when she eats cheesecake. Like, I'm not having one of these you guys get from the store. I'm having one of these. Okay. So, does that give you an idea why I don't eat a lot of cheesecake? And I usually try to find people to give it to because I will be found like in the refrigerator with like a knife, like walking around with cheesecake in my mouth for like a week after. So it's very dangerous to my sugar levels. So remember, guys, Sabbaths seem very daunting, but if you break them down, they're very easy. The other thing I want to talk to you guys about, I knew I wrote some notes on the back of my stuff. Okay. Sigils, symbols, and shapes while you're baking are a great way to put kitchen work into it. Okay. So you're seeing all this spiral this season, right? So instead of braiding your bread, you could connect all three of them in the center and take these spirals out and change the direction and make yourself a tricycle bread. I mean, I have done that when I feel fancier, you know, not feeling real fucking fancy this year. So we'll see what happens. And I have done the spiral kneading where I roll it one way with one hand, the other way with the other hand, make the two different circles and bring them back in while I'm kneading if I'm making a homemade dough. Okay. And the other thing I really want you to focus on is I know you have a lot of tools in your kitchen, those of you that are kitchen witches. Okay. Really take care of your tools. If you're using them in Sabbath situation, anoint them. Get them out, put them in one spot, light a candle by them, bless them with your hearth, bless them for your home, and glorify the Sabbath with using them. Okay. I clean my mixer. Everybody knows my mixers are named. So I have a very big black mixer, very big. His name is Malvic. Okay. He's very big and he's huge. He was in my kitchen. His name is Malvic. The girls named him there because they said he was a demon. He could make anything, like nothing stopped him. And then I have my little pink breast cancer mixer, and we call her Pinky. Okay. So Pinky and Malvic are cleaned every Sabbath, washed down, greased, and taken care of for this. I use this as a time to do maintenance in my hearth. So I'll take all my candles out of my kitchen right now, especially at IMBOLC. We know how big of a candle holiday this is, okay? Take all my candles down. I'll put them all in a bin because I have all the little white ones all over the place. Melt them down, and I make one candle to burn while I'm cooking. Okay? Oh, sissy, it hasn't hardened. It hasn't sat long. Who gives a shit? It's my candle. I'm not selling it to someone. It's for my use. I'll throw it in the freezer for 2 days and bring it back out. Okay? I give my scraps to the birds from this time of the year of cooking. I take it outside. I offer it to the wildlife. I do my share to the wildlife that's surviving the winter. I go out. I make a fresh wreath in my yard. I just hung a grapevine from my fallen tree with some red berries that grow in my yard to honor for IMBOLC. I brought my fallen tree in for the holiday and I put her on the wall. So make yourself something new for your hearth. Adorn. Part of being a kitchen witch is taking care of your kitchen. My husband cleaned my kitchen for me tonight because he knew I was so overwhelmed with everything going on and I couldn't get to anything. He cleaned the kitchen before I came to do my lecture. He's like, oh, I thought you were using the kitchen tonight. And I'm like, no. And he goes, oh, well, it's clean now. I just wanted to help. You know, that's what they do when they're being a shithead. So he cleaned the kitchen for me to help out. But make sure you give your kitchen a good clean. Tomorrow I will make rosemary, lemon, and a little bit of mullein in a simmer pot because that's what we've been doing with C. And I'll wash down all my floors prior to cooking and baking. For me, Sabbath cooking is a whole week long stint. Not because I'm extra, because I fucking enjoy it. It connects me to my craft. It's a break from the fucking monotony of the bullshit you have to live with. You're all complaining about how your muggle life drags you down. Step the fuck out of it. Even if it's for an hour at night, step the fuck out of it. If you can't bake, get some fucking butter, grab some herbs from your cupboard, roll the fucking butter in the herbs, and grab a loaf of bread from your bakery at the store. Sit your fucking ass down, have a can of Campbell's soup beef stew, and eat your bread and butter. Okay? There's no fucking excuse. I don't care if you have to cut the corner. I ain't fucking judging you. Do I look like I have any room to judge anybody right now? I'm like that little cat hanging on to the branch going, meow. Like I'm doing the best I fucking can right now, okay? If I can take time to do this right now, you can fucking take time to do this. I got a little person that can't swallow anything thicker than a pudding. And I'm going to cook all week. Yeah, she's looking forward to the fucking cheesecake. She's excited. She's like, oh, we're going to have food for weeks. So I want you guys to understand if it's a Jello box fucking cheesecake mix, if it's a Betty Crocker lemon cake, do what you fucking can. Get on Pinterest, find the dump cake, whatever sets your heart afire. Go to the bakery and buy the fucking cheesecake. Whatever you need to do to make time to step into this Sabbath, get in the belly of this and take that is really important. When I see you guys on Thursday night, you better be in IMBOLC frame of mind. Because aligned and dangerous is nothing about but sitting in that belly and preparing. A lot of you think you can't do this. And I want to know who the fuck can tell you that kind of thing. You can do whatever the fuck you want to do. And I don't care how low your funds are, you got bread and you got something in your soup cupboard. I know you got a can of soup. We all got a can of soup. I got lots of soup right now. Let me know. I'll fucking Amazon you some soup. Okay? I got the soup all over my house. I want you to know that these are really important things to bring into your craft. If you do anything this year, embrace your Sabbaths. Even if you're a new broom, embrace these Sabbaths. These Sabbaths are the lifeblood of your craft. The turn of the wheel will teach you so much about you and why you feel the way you feel. You sit back and go, why do I feel like everything's a struggle right now? Do you think a baby sits in the womb and goes, oh, everything's easy? No, they're struggling to breathe liquid. They don't know what's going on. They're working, and you're not giving yourself credit for this in utero experience you're having. You're getting ready to be rebirthed as something amazing at Ostara. I don't fucking know what it is. I can't presume to tell you. Everybody's like, I want an oracle read for that one. Me fucking too. Let me know when you find somebody that can tell me, okay? But I'm telling you right now, we're all doing the best we can. So if we're a circle doing the best we can, we are fucking killing it out there. If we're all doing the best we can and it's only half-assed together, we're a whole ass, right? That's how I look at it. So if you see something, you feel it's IMBOLC, fucking do it. Fucking sit in it. Yellow, green, white. There's your colors. It's not real hard. Don't eat crystals. They're bad for your body. I saw somebody the other day going, I put amethyst chips in my bread. Don't do that. Please don't do that. Don't eat crystals because people tell you to. That's stupid. You can eat salt. That's a crystal. It's the only crystal I want to hear about. You put it in your body, okay? I saw it the other day. I'm like, who the fuck eats crystals? That's crazy. Okay? So don't do that. Does anybody have questions? You're all like, wow, that was a lot. Since you did a lot. Chris?
Okay, I am allergic to sweet potatoes and yams. I cannot find a potato that is comparable. Can you suggest one?
What are you allergic to?
Sweet potatoes / yams.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, there's sweet potatoes and yams. Sorry. I'm using a different thing.
You know
today.
what? I would substitute carrots if you can't use sweet potatoes.
Okay, cool.
That's
Thank
what I would do. It's the same profile. I like jicama. Do you use jicama?
I do. I didn't think about cooking it because I like to just eat it like cold and
Yeah,
raw.
but you can cook jicama, and you know what? A rutabaga or a parsnip
Oh, I love rutabaga and
could
parsnip.
give you the same thing.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool. Thank you.
you're welcome. Any other questions, guys? You're all like, this was a lot. Was this too much for your brain? Go ahead.
I have a question. I was having trouble getting the PDF for the class, and I kept clicking. I ordered it, put it in my cart, and when I would click on it in my email, it would just send me right back to the website. So I didn't want to order it again.
Go
Should I
ahead and order
try
it again. We had a problem when it started
Okay.
this morning. It had an old PDF attached
Okay.
to it. I had to pull it off and redo it.
Okay. All right. Great. Thank you.
Yeah, if you guys ever have a problem getting something like that, write me an email or Nikki an email. Let us know what's going on, and one of us will correct it and get back to you. It might take us a minute, but I was notified by Mary this morning that she got the Carradwin rebirth instead of the kitchen witch. I'm like, thank you so much, Mary. I sent Jeanette out her copy because I didn't see you had ordered one, Tamara. I would have sent you one too. So you'll be able to get that. Tasha?
So my biggest question is, if you end up with too much of that big, huge cheesecake, can you just go ahead and ship me some of the leftovers? I'd be happy to eat it in place of you.
I will do my best. I mean, shipping, you know what? I used to ship sticky buns from my restaurant, and I did them FedEx overnight. And I actually would have a few customers that didn't complain about the cost to get them. I had a girl in Massachusetts. I would send them to her, but she ended up paying, like, my sticky buns were like $12 a dozen, and they were like this big and round. So I would send them up to her, and she would get them the next day, and she's always like, oh my God, they're so amazing. But we ended up paying like $29 to ship them. You should just get your ass in the car in that plane, Tasha, and come to the retreat.
I know.
I
I'm scared.
know. I know. Well, it wouldn't be courage
Scared.
if you were okay with it, would it? She's like, fuck you. Happy IMBOLC.
Trust me, I envision it all the time. I always do these little meditations that involves me like walking down to the airplane and stepping in. And then once I'm like in my seat, I'm like, okay. And then my heart starts pounding and I'm like done. I'm like, fuck that. I'm not doing it.
It's really not that bad.
I've been on an airplane, which is funny, when I was 9, and I was in complete panic mode the entire fucking time at 9 years old. Like my grandpa had to basically pull me on the airplane to get back, and it was not good. So
That sucks. I love to fly. It's one of my favorite things. Jen?
Something that we did for in Girl Scouts, so this could be like for the little kids, is one of the badges was learning about, pioneering. So we got baby jars, they're still around, and then they would put the heavy cream in, and then we would just literally shake it.
You can do it with a pint mason jar. That's what Caroline used today because she can't handle a big jar right now. So she was using the pint. And
Yeah.
the pint. And the other thing is the Smucker's grape jelly jars you get, the littler ones or the small jelly jars, they work too. Any
Yeah.
jar that closes you can use. It doesn't have to
Right.
be a jar to keep it in,
Right.
but you have to have it in a tight container or a mixer bowl to make it, or you won't get
Right.
that
I was just
invigoration.
thinking for like, the Gigi group, because I mean, I have a granddaughter, and if she were here in town, I would be having her do it too. So I think it would be cute if the little ones even learned how to start doing some of this stuff.
I'm just gonna sit my granddaughter at the table with all the food I make and let her go to town. She's
There
like
you
a little
go.
sissy. She'll just eat it till it's all gone.
But when it makes that clump sound, I remember, being in 3rd grade, and when I saw it go woof, it's like, oh my goodness. So it's kind of cool for the younger ones too.
That's cool. We'll have to put that in the GG group. I didn't even think about it. Any other questions, ladies?
do you have a date for the retreat yet?
Yeah, it's Maybon weekend, the 20th through the 22nd, I think. I'm glad I did that because the wedding is October 22nd. they said it for the weekend. We would have been at the retreat. So I'm glad I moved it to Maybon this year. But yeah, so I'm going to have my hands full in October. After the retreat, there will be no rest and relaxation. We will be going right into wedding mode. So, well, if you guys have any questions, cares, or concerns, reach out and I will see you all on Thursday. Oh, tomorrow night is New Broom Bedtime Rituals and Thursday night is Aligned and Dangerous. Make sure you get in and register. So if you need anything else, just reach out and we'll take care of you. Have a good night, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.